Show me something. Hello and welcome back to the Show Me Something podcast. I'm Will.
I'm Trevor.
And I'm Jacob.
And this week I showed my dear friends the 2016 film Arrival, directed by Denis Villeneuve, a French-Canadian director, starring Amy Adams, Jeremy Renner, Forrest Whitaker, most importantly, I would say. Nice little sci-fi film. What's up, boys? How we feeling? How's the week going?
Going all right.
Good.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Living the dream. What are we drinking?
I've got a Finback and Untitled Art collaboration. It's a oat cream IPA.
Oh.
Finback out of New York, Untitled Art out of Wisconsin. It's pretty good.
Nice.
Pretty tasty.
I'm having unapologetic fruit jam jar.
Ooh,
It's an
fancy.
ale and sour mix. Bunch of fruit in it. A lot of fruit in it. Very good though.
Yeah, it looks very fruity.
I've got a beer out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Miller Lite. I had to see where it was brewed, and I'm like, where the fuck do they make this?
That's solid. That's solid. We got two Wisconsin brews. You know, can't
That's
complain.
good.
Shout out to Pip. Pip just woke up. It looks like.
Pip, yeah, what are you doing? You're like dazed.
Dazed and
He
confused.
just looks over at me.
Where's
Trying to
this?
wake himself up.
You got any
Um,
housekeeping, Trev?
Do I?
I don't know. I was just
Did I
asking
tell
you
you?
because I assumed you were first.
The way you said that, it was like I told you
I did.
something
I
earlier.
did say it like there was something
It's
crazy.
like a leading question. Yeah.
I don't think so.
Right
Still
on.
playing Red Dead Redemption.
Nice.
Cool. Making good progress.
No, I haven't made much progress since last week.
Fair.
And then, yeah, I guess that's kind of it. Just been living,
Hell yeah, brother.
working, doing stuff.
Well, you recorded a some Ned Pod.
Oh yeah,
in
I
person.
did record the Ned Pod. That's
Yeah.
right. We did.
Oh yeah, I didn't ask about that. How'd that go?
Went well, yeah.
It went okay.
Did you guys get more than one episode done?
We did two.
Yes.
We did two.
I-
Yeah.
I screwed up 2 times with 2 different cameras.
Classic Trev. Trying to sabotage Ned Pod.
I've learned my lesson, so if I'm allowed back, it'll be good. Maybe.
I mean, at least he could make it to the second podcast. I've never done that, so.
I didn't start drinking until we started recording, so.
Smart man. It's very smart. That's a good strategy.
Yeah.
I'll have to put that into play next time.
I did keep Jacob
if I'm on
awake.
again.
I did keep Jacob awake for way longer than he wanted to be. I could tell.
Dude, I didn't go to
What was
bed
it,
till 10.
9:15?
I was
Damn
like intoxicated, and I was like, I'm not driving. I
I
can't
had
drive
been
home.
up for like 45 hours at that point.
Wait, what?
No, it's not true. I just
I was like, what do you work a triple shift or something?
I've just been playing Bannerlord still. And I'm still keeping up with Dr. Stone. There's only been the one episode since last time. I mean, one came out this morning apparently, but I was at
We
work,
haven't watched
so-
it yet,
Yeah, I was at
so.
work. The most
stuff.
recent episode was very good, and it makes me want you to watch it now, Will.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll probably. I mean, there's like a couple episodes left before the season's over.
Yeah, I think there's like 8
Yeah.
or 9 out right now.
And there's 12, I think, this season, right? I'll probably just
Yeah.
wait till it's over and then rip it. I'm currently binging The Good Place. I'm finally on the final season. So once that's done, I'll have some time, although that'll probably be pretty soon. But I can start Dr. Stone. Is it on Crunchyroll?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Oh yeah, and we're
I've
all
been doing that.
all of us are watching the next pick already from Trevor
Yeah.
/ special guest.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is gonna be our
Tease,
first.
good tease.
Yeah.
This is gonna be our first guest episode where one of us has already
2
also
people.
seen the thing. Yeah, this is gonna be our first
Yeah.
episode where 2 people have seen something.
A concept
So.
we've been talking about since before the pod even started because we all have so many common things that we love and want to talk about. But
So open
Yeah.
the floodgates.
this is a little better because it's at least 2 of the 3 hosts have not seen it. Versus
Well,
usually
I
it
was-
would be 2 hosts and
Yeah, I was already gonna bring this just on my own, and then special guest heard and was like, I gotta be there.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, special guest.
Yeah.
there we are. Cool. So a quick synopsis about the film. One day, 12 alien ships land throughout the globe, scattered across the country, or not the country, the world. The most relevant one is in Montana. The film focuses on Amy Adams' character, who's a language professor. She gets called in by the military to try to assist them in communicating with this group of aliens. Sci-fi film. I think it's. We can talk about this a bit after the review section, but I think it's a kind of a unique sci-fi film in the fact that it's not really like an action movie. It was hard for me to kind of think of sci-fi movies that aren't also just like by default also action movies.
They're out there for sure.
They're out there, yeah. But like this one is, there's barely any like, quote unquote action. It's like a very thoughtful, kind of slow, contemplative film. Cool. What'd you think, Trev?
I really liked it. I gotta say off the bat, I kind of had the main plot point spoiled for me like months ago, if not a year ago. Or more.
That's hard to hear right there.
I know.
That's terrible. Why didn't you tell me? I wouldn't have brought it.
Because I still wanted to see it, and I still really liked it, and it'd been so long that I kind of was like, maybe that was not real, and I kind of was still in it with it going, like not knowing for sure that what I had spoiled for me was correct. So but I still really enjoyed it. It's a gorgeous film. The story is very interesting. It does remind me of some other stuff that I've read. But I don't even want to mention what they are because that in itself would probably spoil things.
Yeah. It's tricky.
Once we get in spoiler section, then I'll talk about that a little. Cool. But yeah, really loved it. I gave this a 9.5 out of 10.
Damn.
My only complaint, little too dark for a lot of the film.
Too dark lighting wise, or like
lighting wise. The whole
okay.
like almost the entire film is. Like, give me, like, I get having the dark, most of it being dark, but give me a couple of scenes at least where they brighten it up a little bit. Like, come on. Overall, I really, really loved it, though. It was really good. It's very interesting.
Cool.
9.5 out of 10. It would be 10 out of 10 if it wasn't for that. Maybe a couple other little things, maybe.
Yeah.
I feel like along with that darkness too, it has a relatively muted color palette.
Which I don't mind a muted color palette, but it's just sometimes
I'm just saying
like,
it adds to it.
They're walking through like areas and I'm like, I can't see anything. Maybe that's my own setups issue or something, but just some of it I'm just like, this is
gotta bump that brightness up, homie.
Yeah, it sounds
do.
like your
I have
brightness
to turn
is
it down every time we record because my screens will blast me in the face. I do want to rewatch it, maybe on like a better set, like get like a 4K DVD and like put it on the big TV outside in the front room.
They do have the 4K stream on Amazon.
My internet cannot handle that.
I'm just saying it exists.
I would have to download it.
Do you have a 4K screen?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Hell, both of my monitors are 4K.
He's an elite gamer. Are you kidding me, dude?
Whoa. Fuck.
The TV up front's 4K. We got the Blu-ray player finally recently.
He's got a 4K ultra
experienced
wide with
4K.
an anime girl going
great.
across it.
4K is nice. Now, the only thing I've actually watched in 4K, like true 4K on the big new TV with the Blu-ray, is Jumanji: The Next Level.
Hell yes.
I haven't seen the second one.
I heard
the first one's good though.
Yeah.
First one's good. Second one's also good. I'll bet a couple of times mildly uncomfortable.
That's how it's supposed
In
to
that, that Jack Black is trying to play a black person.
Oh, classic. Robert Downey Jr. Tropic Thunder type
stuff. Shit.
Not quite, because he's like in the body of him, so he's not like in blackface or anything. It's just the character Fridge is inside Jack Black, and so it's like a couple of times it's like, this is a little like, it's fine, but it's a little awkward at times.
Questionable. Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, I really liked it, and there's a couple of plot points where I'm just like, I wish they would have explored that a little bit more than they did. That I would liked, but overall, great movie, awesome. Definitely watch it. If you're listening to this,
wait, are you talking about Jumanji or are you talking about Arrival?
Arrival.
I feel like you
I'm still
switched
talking.
there in the middle without saying.
I did
anything.
switch. Yes.
Nah, he was tying the bow, dude.
I
Yeah,
thought
overall-
he was big shouting out Jumanji. I was like, "Fuck yeah, there's my
Jumanji,
boy."
9.5 out of 10.
You're like big
Teenager
slapper.
quibbles, mostly that blackface thing, but you know.
No,
That
why
shit
you
made me raffle.
don't put words in my mouth, Will.
Joke.
Overall, yeah, I really like this, and definitely go watch it before we get to the spoiler zone because it will help a lot if you don't know anything.
Yeah. Agree.
Right on.
Jacob.
I enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was really solid. I thought it had good pacing, even though like a lot of it, like you were saying, it's not an action-heavy movie. There's like barely any at all. Like there's a couple scenes that you could try to consider action, but it's not even. It's just mostly them just trying to figure everything out, and I just found it really interesting. And the characters were great, and the acting was really phenomenal. I had a good time watching it. I didn't know anything about the story. I didn't have anything spoiled. I didn't know anything about the movie at all. Like, really, I had heard about the movie when it came out and then didn't think about it ever again. Which, I mean, that happens to so many movies. Like, it's just, there's so many, like, good movies that come out. It's like, because this was, 2016?
Yep. It was a strong year.
Yeah, strong year. I think we were looking at it before, the ones that had, like, won Best Picture, and there's so many good movies out.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I'd give it probably like an 8 out of 10. I liked it a lot. I thought the like the lighting was fine though, Trevor. I didn't have any issues with it being too dark on my side. My issue was more the I found the audio mixing to be not my favorite, to where I found the dialogue to be a little bit too low, like the Nolan effect, where the sound effects are high and the audio's low. The classic like trying to pull you in or whatever thing. It's not my favorite type of audio mixing, but that also might just be because I'm watching it at home, you know.
Interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, it wasn't really too bad. I found that more in the beginning of the movie than later on, like when they're doing all the build up and everything. Yeah. Other than that, really solid pick.
Cool. Just briefly before I jump into my own, it did win an Oscar for Best Sound Editing, and was nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Screenplay, Best Cinematography, Best Film Editing, Best Production Design, and Best Sound Mixing.
That's hilarious.
Maybe your ears are just broken. I'm kidding. Did you watch it in headphones or did you watch it off the TV?
No, I watched
screen?
it on TV.
Yeah. That's one thing that I have been doing for this podcast, although it's partially just because Riz goes to bed earlier than I do, and I oftentimes end up watching things for the podcast after she's asleep. But I like on the Apple TV, I just hook up my headphones to it. And yeah, I think the sound is impeccable in this film. I agree that it is kind of that like bassy, eerie, wah type stuff a lot.
Yeah, it's ambient.
Yeah, very ambient.
But yeah.
But there's like a really good string theme that kind of bookends the film that is like, I think, really evocative. Yeah, so I mean, I love this film, obviously. That's why I brought it. I saw it in theaters when it came out. In one of my classic like solo movie trips, which I dearly miss. Fuck this pandemic. I think honestly one of the biggest things I miss about this is that I can't go to the movies. Obviously beyond seeing my friends and my family, like number 3 is probably that I can't go to the movie theater. I think this movie is really cool in the fact that it's like a very kind of thoughtful and slow and like literary sci-fi film. It's not very bombastic. It's kind of like quiet. You know, obviously we just spoke about the sound. It's not, I don't think it's literally quiet, but it is kind of a slow, meditative film. I think Amy Adams and Jeremy Renner's performances are wonderful. Mm-hmm. The plot is just incredible. I really feel like it's worth repeating what Trevor said. Like, if you're at all interested in this film, like, please don't listen to this podcast beyond this point. Like, just go watch it, because it's got, you know, I mean, I don't think it's a spoiler to say there is like a element of the plot that you probably don't see coming, and it alters the film.
For sure.
Right? Like, it's best. This is one of those movies that it's best to go in knowing as little as possible.
I truly wish I had seen this in the theaters back when it came out, because
it was.
I could only imagine, honestly.
It absolutely walloped me. I mean, you know, I am a very emotional moviegoer. I fully give in to the experience of seeing the movie and kind of like just accepting whatever it's giving to me. This is an incredibly emotional film. It absolutely devastated me the first time I saw it, and it absolutely devastated me this time too. I sat on my couch sobbing at the end of it on Monday night. I watched it Monday because I wanted to watch it again. I wanted to watch it twice before the podcast, but I couldn't bring myself to put myself through it again. That soon after watching it on Monday. So, it's really cool. It's a great movie, I think. And I think it's relatively unique in terms of sci-fi as a landscape, and a genre. So yeah, I'm at a 9.5 also. On Letterboxd I said 5 out of 5, but when I give it out of 10, I feel like it's probably a 9.5. But it's pretty close to a perfect film. And I think Denis Villeneuve is maybe the best working director right now, or in my opinion, one of the best, and certainly like the most exciting. I think since Sicario, he hasn't made a bad film. And not only that, he's made like borderline generational films. The Blade Runner sequel, I think, is really incredible, and he pretty much got that sequel off the strength of Arrival. And then now he's making Dune, you know, which has been pushed back because of the pandemic. That's supposed to be like a really huge deal. But I'm very excited for that just because of how well he's adapted these things in the past. Yeah, cool. Before we jump into spoilers, do we want to talk briefly about our favorite sci-fi films? Slash our favorite Amy. We can start with Amy Adams' performances, I think. I mean, I
don't think we're going to be able to do sci-fi films, dude. We were talking about it a little bit, and
yeah, I mean, we can maybe touch on a few, but I do agree that it can.
There's
that can
so
lead us
many.
down a pretty long road. Yeah.
And what constitutes sci-fi and what doesn't is a whole nother discussion, and just.
Yeah.
Would you consider Star Wars to be a sci-fi movie, Will?
Yeah.
Will thought it was, or Trevor thought it wasn't sci-fi.
It's technically
what is it?
It's more of a space opera.
But like okay. Yeah,
but
see,
I get
this is why, because we can really get into the weeds. I just don't see how space opera isn't a subgenre of sci-fi.
But also straight up, if someone's like, without me like thinking about it too hard, like outside of the context of this, someone was like, Star Wars sci-fi, yeah. That would be my gut. My gut response would be that, but then you go and like you start thinking too deep about it and all that crap. And
like I agree that it's a space opera, but I think that space opera falls under the umbrella of sci-fi. Like,
for sure.
You know, we can get
so. I'll give you that.
Picky.
You know what? I
like
that. I like that.
Yeah, so I think it's probably best for us to avoid that conversation. I kind of threw it out in our text, like in our texts about a potential list because I am the list king.
That you
I
are.
don't really have any, but Cobb suggested best Amy Adams performances, and I am curious to hear. I have like a very rock solid top 3 for her.
Damn.
So I'm curious to hear it. I'm curious.
Really,
to hear what
I do not.
Trevor, you go first.
I do, for sure.
I'm going first. Mine are in no particular order. I'm leaning too far away from the mic. And okay, Talladega Nights. Jacob was like, we were talking a little bit and he brought it up saying, I forgot she was in it, and I was already written down on my list, and I was like,
I forgot she was in it too.
She's hilarious.
Dude, I watched one clip and I wouldn't say that it was like a good performance. I'd say that that's a funny movie.
She's funny in that.
That's crazy. I didn't make it anywhere near down the list of her performance. Sorry, Trevor.
There's a
The
lot
Office.
That's wild.
The Office.
The Office?
Classic,
The
yeah.
Office is number 2. Yeah, Katie the person.
No,
Yeah.
mine are in no order. Mine are in no order whatsoever.
Sorry. Yeah.
Because I don't. I mean, this movie, I guess, but I'm not really going to list this movie in my list because we're talking about this movie. But this movie would be number. Fine, this movie's number 1 then.
Throw it in there.
Easy. This easy is number 1, and then the rest are in no particular order. Enchanted was funny.
Say again.
You guys not remember Enchanted?
I know it.
Of course I
I've never seen
don't.
it, though.
Of course I don't remember
I've seen
that movie.
it. I've seen it. It's funny.
That was like the big banger, like Disney live action film.
Wait, did
of
it
the
slap?
late 2000s. I never saw it, but it was very popular.
It was goofy and funny.
Trevor,
I mean,
aren't
I'm
you
not gonna
wearing an
say
Enchanted t-shirt right now?
Yeah, totally. Mm-hmm. There we go.
If only we didn't have video pod, we could still sell bits like that.
All my visual gags are gone now.
Now you have to get real visual gags.
Fuck. I gotta start bringing props on. Mm-hmm. I gotta become like Carrot Top.
You like Carrot Top, yeah, exactly.
And she was good in the Second Night at the Museum movie
Hell yeah.
as Amelia Earhart.
Perfect impression.
This is a wild list.
I think it's a great list.
I
didn't know she was in any of these films.
I remember
think-
Besides
Night
Enchanted.
Museum,
like
for sure.
someone says Amy Adams, I know her immediately.
Hell yeah.
If you had asked me before I started looking at lists of movies she was in, stuff that she was in, I'd be like, she was in The Office, I think, and that would have been it. and,
I love that.
and then I think Talladega Nights was also something that actually came to mind, but I'm not positive on that.
That's fair.
Otherwise,
You remember
Arrival.
her from Talladega Nights? I don't believe
yeah,
it.
I like Redheads.
Oh shit. Okay, right on. I vibe.
There we go. Talk about Into the Weeds.
Yeah, we could vibe with it. That came out of
Trevor, top 3 favorite redheads.
Yeah. Nice. Well, I didn't think you were. I thought that was a joke. I didn't.
Amy Adams.
There he goes.
She's number 1?
Unstoppable.
No, number 1 would be
Lola Rabbit, dude.
Emma Stone. She's a redhead.
That's fair.
Is she?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Isn't she?
Yeah.
Thought she had brown
Is she
hair.
not a redhead?
She's been blonde. She's been blonde and brown recently, but I think she's
I thought she
I
had.
feel like
I
she's
thought
a
she had-
redhead.
I thought
In
she
my
was a
mind-
brunette.
In my mind, she's
I
a
think
redhead. So
I think she was a redhead, like an Easy A, super bad.
As Hermione.
That's Emma Watson.
That is
that's
Emma
Emma
Watson.
Watson, my guy.
I was thinking of Emma Watson the whole time. I was like, that doesn't make
That's
any
great.
sense.
La La
great.
Land, my guy.
Yeah. All right. Fuck that list. Shout out to your
Anyways.
redheads, Trevor. Cobb, what's your top 3 Amy Adams performances?
Number 1. Mine are actually. Well, no, I'll go number 1. I was gonna say no particular order, but that's crazy talk. Am I right? Number 1, The Fighter. She played Charlene. Great performance. Great movie. I love that movie. I really need to rewatch it. Trevor, that was the clip where I was like, "Fuck, I gotta rewatch this movie."
Never even heard
I
of
watched
it.
the clip of her like getting in a fight with like his like Marky Mark's like sisters or somebody, whoever it was in the film, when his mom
Yeah.
comes over and starts harassing him. She's
Yeah.
like, "Where you fucking been?" And then they get in a fight. She's like, "Bitch, don't call me a skank." She just punches the shit out of the other girl. Oh,
Nice. All
that's
right.
fucking good, dude. It's a great movie. Number 2, she plays Kat Peterson in That 70s Show for one episode. One of her first roles.
does.
Wow.
I forgot she
Who's
was in
Kat
that 70s
Peterson?
show.
She's the quote unquote the most popular girl at school. For one episode, she has like a little fling with Hyde. Early on, season maybe 1 or 2, maybe 2.
Wow.
Yeah, and she pretends it doesn't happen or something
Yeah.
like that.
Classic, so funny, dude. I was cracking him so much when I was watching those clips. It was really just because Hyde was hilarious, but big shout to Amy Adams. And then also Katie from The Office. But if we want to do other shouts other than that, it's just that I haven't seen the movies in so long. It's like, do I love the movie or do I love her performance? It's like difficult to say. I mean, that's with the whole list really. But like shout out like her, American Hustle, The Master. She's been in a bunch of stuff that's been all good,
I've seen none of those.
Yeah. So mine, I think honestly, this is probably my favorite performance of hers. So I will say Arrival number 1. I agree that The Fighter is immaculate, so that's number 2, and then I did have The Master as number 3. In her, she's just a.
She's
like,
the
I don't
friend.
remember her.
She's the friend
Okay.
that he,
Oh, with
like,
the- with the
talks-
crazy
yeah,
hair.
the crazy hair.
Yeah. She's good, but she's kind of ancillary.
Yeah.
So like I didn't.
I watched
remember her.
one clip from it and I was like, yeah, she's doing pretty good. And I was like, this movie's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, she's got like such insane like early 2010s energy. She was just like nominated for Best Actress like every year
Yeah.
for the first few years of the 2010s, or supporting actress. I haven't seen Julie and Julia or Doubt, which apparently are like two of her better
Yeah, I
roles.
haven't either. And
But
Abby, I think,
I've
has
seen
seen both. And she was like, have you seen either of those? And I was like, no. And
Yeah.
she was like, they're great. So
I've
I've
heard
seen
Doubt is really good.
I've seen some of Julia and Julia. I haven't seen all of it. I've seen maybe 60% of it, if I had to guess.
I'm pretty sure she was nominated
It was
for
good.
both of those.
I mean, the parts that I saw were good.
She was nominated for both of those and The Fighter. And I want to say for American Hustle, too, which is also
Probably.
decent, but I probably hasn't aged as well. David O. Russell's kind of hit or miss. Anyway,
dude, I couldn't even tell you what American Hustle's about. I do not remember.
they're con men and Christian Bale wears a fat suit.
Yeah,
That's
I remember
That's
that,
pretty
yeah.
much my... And
Jennifer
it's in the
Lawrence.
70s. Right.
That was when Jennifer Lawrence was like the hottest actress in Hollywood.
They were like one.
They
and
were
two,
fighting it.
more or
Yeah,
less.
they were
Yeah.
duking it out.
And then they were like in the movie together.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Good times.
That's
That was
one of the
like me graduating
movies
college.
where I pulled a will and saw it by myself in the theaters.
Nice.
Bro, listen, can we get a quick PSA? Going to movies by yourself is like the greatest thing in the world. You should all do it.
I feel
Everyone
like
has this like crazy hang up about it. It's so delightful.
Yeah.
First of all, I've lived here for like 6 years. And for the first 3 years I like didn't really actually have any friends down here. So I just like saw so many movies alone.
For one of those years, he just bullied me.
I saw The Force Awakens alone on opening night. I'm pretty sure I saw Last Jedi alone on opening night. I'm like that guy who's there Thursday night at 7 p.m. by himself, just like being all hyped up.
But you know what
Anyway,
you didn't
doesn't
see
matter.
alone? Detective Pikachu. All right, we were drunk
I
off
certainly
BJ's.
We were and Solo. Didn't see either of those alone.
Shout
We
out
were in
BJ's
there.
Brewhouse.
Shout out BJ's Brewhouse, bro. Pazuki. Shout out Doughboys Podcast. Doing a great. They're doing a. Never mind. This is not important.
Are they just
All right,
eating
cool.
a bunch of Pazookies?
To be fair,
No,
Detective
they're-
Pikachu.
They do a tournament every March of like fast food tournaments. So this year they're doing like best fast food desserts, and Pazuki got knocked out in the first round.
BJ's isn't fast food. It's a sit-down restaurant.
It's fast casual. I'm sorry, they do chain restaurants, not fast
okay.
food. Sorry, best chain restaurant dessert, and Pazuki was in the first round, and it got knocked out like immediately.
It's no
Anyway,
good. I've never
what were
had
you gonna
one.
say, Trev?
I was
Detective
saying,
Pikachu slaps.
is a fun movie, especially when you're drunk. That's how I saw it.
I feel like we were vibing hard. I've also seen it after the fact, and it was still it held
It's still
up. Riz and I
fun.
watched
Yeah,
it.
I thought it was.
It's
I
a
thought
fun
the visuals
movie. It's
were
a very
cool.
fun movie.
It's a good time.
I like Pokemon too. I was kind of pissed. I arrived to
Same.
the theater late, and my buddy
So did we.
got my ticket. Because my buddy got my ticket for me, and like I didn't miss any of the movie, but he opened my pack of Pokemon cards I got with the movie.
Damn.
Wow, that's fucked
Dude,
up.
we
Yeah,
missed the
Cobb and I
first
were
10
just
easy.
sloshed.
Well, our
We
waiter,
missed
it was
all
his
the
first
trailers.
day.
We missed all the trailers and the first 10 minutes of the film. It was just very drunk, like wandering
Damn.
into
Dude,
a
it was our waiter's
mid-afternoon
first day, and
showing
he
of
never came
Detective
back with the check. We were just sloshed trying to find him.
Just me and Jacob walking in with like a bunch of families and like a Tuesday afternoon.
It was an
or some
empty
shit.
BJ's at 3 p.m.
Yeah, we were
Nice.
just hammered. It
I
was a good
went
time.
to a theater that served alcohol in it, so that's how I
Nice.
had
That's
my
the
booze.
best. Shout out to Alamo Draft House. I miss you dearly.
Studio Movie Grill in Tampa is
Oh,
where
yeah.
I was at, which in University Mall, which is garbage, but the theater is pretty good. So
Yeah.
All right, 28 and a half
We're
minutes
30
in.
minutes.
Let's.
spoiler zone, yay!
Let's hit the spoilers. So,
Time to
should we
crack
just
my
start,
second drink.
Should we start with the twist?
Sure.
Or I guess the reveal?
Yes, because I have stuff I want to talk about that kind of has done that
Go
in
for
a
it.
similar way. So the big twist, well, like the whole premise is that she's trying to learn their language, and the root language is a big circle, because they experience time, I guess, it's either they experience time circularly
It's just
or
non-linear.
or all at once, basically.
Yeah.
Which is cool. So it's basically seeing the future, because for her, she's learning it now, so therefore she's not really seeing her past as much, because that's normal. She's seeing future stuff, which is dope, and I love that. Getting information in the future that you can use in the present, stuff like that. That kind of happens towards the end, where the Chinese general gives him her phone number and what to say to him in the future, and then that was so cool. And like so Sci-Fi series, it's right back there on that shelf.
Nice. We can see it perfectly.
On your weeb shelf.
That is not the weeb shelf. That's the weeb wall. And then the weeb shelf is over there.
It's hidden in a lock.
Oh, strategically out of frame.
Yeah.
It was in frame previously, but I wanted all the Overlord books in a nice stack.
Too many waifus
by
on
themselves.
the covers.
Fair. Too many body pillows.
I don't have a body pillow.
You should get one,
I've
though.
thought about it.
So what's the similar media that you're talking about?
It's the only way it's similar is that she can see the future. It's called Theirs Is Not to Reason Why. It's a sci-fi series, super far in the future. She's like a psychic soldier who knows. I think it says it pretty quickly in the first book. I don't think anyone's probably going to read it, but it's a good series. That she knows that she needs to do a bunch of stuff to prevent humanity from going extinct about 300 years in the future or something like that.
Okay.
So she is going through her entire life making sure certain events occur and certain people are alive and certain people aren't.
Yeah.
And she joins the military to do such because it's the most efficient way to do so. And she gets like at
She
some
joins
point
the
she's like
system?
one of the militaries. Yeah, there's a bunch of militaries because future space, sci-fi, spaceships,
Yeah,
all
dude.
that crap.
Hell yeah.
But
Star
it's
Trek.
cool because it's similar where she like looks to the future and it's like, I'll know how to do this in the future. I'll take the time to learn it later. So let me just look ahead so I can do it now.
That's pretty cool.
Stuff like that. So it's like watching this. Also, yeah, I got spoiled for like the fact that she's all of her flashbacks, air quote, at the beginning of
Our
the movie
future.
are flash forwards, essentially.
Yeah, dude, when this movie started, I was like, what the fuck? This is such a weird beginning. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
like, why am I seeing this? Are they just trying to get me to cry? And like, I
Yeah.
felt
Yes.
like, but then, at the end, when everything is coming together, I'm like, oh, that was dope. Because at first
Yeah,
I like
dude.
wasn't into it. I was like, they're just trying to like get me to
Play
care
with
too
your
much about this
emotions.
character. And I thought
Yeah.
that was kind of cheap. And then at the end, I was like, man, that was actually fucking sick.
Yeah, it's got very, very big, like, first 5 minutes of up energy. Like, it just starts out with, like,
Dude,
an
honestly,
incredibly
yes.
sad montage.
Yeah.
And it's just like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Just a kid growing
They,
up
like-
and dying early.
Yeah, I think that, you know, that's like, I love that how they manipulate the audience with that, you know, because of course you're not thinking like, oh, this is clearly the future.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, damn, this lady has had a sad ass life and now she's just this like lonely ass college professor.
Unless you're spoiled, like me.
Unless
And
you're
then-
spoiled. Yeah.
And then you're watching this going, this is the future.
Dude, her house was so fucking sick. Can
That's
we
a
talk
cool
about how
house.
it's like the most
it's
beautiful
such a cool
house in the
house.
most beautiful area? She's on a fucking lake.
Yeah, she's just like a fucking rich ass language professor, dude.
That house was
Well, she's
gorgeous.
like apparently a super expert linguist. So like,
Yeah.
and who
And
knows?
she's been used by the military before and all that kind of stuff.
I
who
want
knows
that
how many
house.
we don't even know how many languages she knows.
Millions.
Yeah, so many.
Like
Bajillions.
all
she's-
of them. She knows all the
throughout-
all of
languages.
Throughout this movie, she talks about speaking, at least knowing
Farsi?
how Sanskrit,
Yeah.
which is not really a language, but it's the written
Huh?
language of a couple of
Yeah.
languages, I think.
Cuneiform,
Mandarin,
Farsi.
Portuguese, Farsi. What is? Yeah.
Farsi is the one that she translated for the government the first time.
Yes. At least those four.
She burns that other professor. She fucking yeets him.
Dude, yeah,
They're
I
like,
have that
go-
in my
go-
notes. Like, ask him what the Sanskrit word for war
Go
is.
see
in
what
its
it is,
translation.
bitch. I bet you he's gonna fuck it up. And then he fucks it up.
Yeah, that was such a
And they're
flex,
like,
bro.
get in the
She's just
copter.
like-
10 minutes. You've got 10.
Also, can we talk? I want to talk about that for a second.
What, packing your bag in 10 minutes? That's fucking
No,
tough.
Colonel.
Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah,
So
Forrest Whitaker.
good.
What's his?
His
name?
accent is terrible.
Yeah, whatever.
I hated his Boston accent. I hated it.
I didn't even realize
His-
he was trying to do a Boston accent.
Dude, a fat accent.
Oh.
It
I
was
just
so
thought-
bad.
He was just
He was
fine,
trying-
but like
he was
he
doing a Boston accent?
He definitely was.
annoys me a little bit in this movie in that
How dare you?
he acts like his character acts like a dumbass sometimes, but maybe it's for the sake of explaining stuff to the audience. But it's just like, here's 2 questions we asked and some vibrating sounds. Translate it. And she's like, I can't. I have to talk to him. It's like, you're just trying to get on the spaceship, aren't you? She's like, no.
I feel like that's classic, though.
You gave me two.
You know?
Yeah, that's classic military skepticism of the general public. Like,
I guess, but that's that. And then after that, she gives him the list of words whenever they're going back in. And it's like, here's my list of vocabulary words we're going to try and work with these aliens about. And he's like, these are all grade school words. Explain it to me. And it's like,
I liked that stuff because I needed it explained.
I loved it, honestly.
For me, my first thought was, no shit, it's grade school words.
I actually
How do
loved
you think
when
we
she-
learned language? They're grade school words for a reason.
I loved when
I
she
would
broke down the
foundation.
sentence.
Like what?
I thought
Like
that
I
was-
don't know.
I would
that
watch a
annoyed me.
whole movie of her just teaching me linguistics.
I would
I thought
too.
it was so interesting.
Oh yeah,
Like, it's
But-
so compelling.
I liked it.
I
So,
liked her
sorry,
explanation of it, but just his immediate going, why? Why this?
Yeah.
You're the expert, but why? I need to explain it to these people. Like,
Well, maybe he does.
Which he
right?
does,
He's
but
gotta
also
tell his
it's-
superiors.
Trevor, have you ever tried
But
to
he-
explain something to the entirety of the Pentagon? Because I don't think you have.
no, I haven't. But regardless,
They're all a bunch of
him-
dummies with anger problems.
yeah, but still, him just going.
Dude, I'm gonna get
Talking-
fucking attacked now. I'm waiting for the SWAT team to come
Docs,
through.
homie.
But him just
I
going.
apologize, man. You're cool. Go ahead, Trevor.
Him just like talking down his nose almost at her, like, why are you using these simple words? Why aren't we just asking them the question now? Was just like so. It seemed just
But I
so
think-
dumb and unrealistic.
I don't think
Like,
it's unrealistic
I
at
think
all.
that-
I think the escalation of all the countries was very accurate.
Yeah, agree. I also think that he's a very good representation of a middle ground between someone who's like genuinely trying to understand and help
Yeah.
versus like the grunts who try to fucking bomb the
Dude.
spaceship. Like, because he could very easily be of that mindset, right? So he's like, I trust you, but like I need you to tell me what to say to convince my
Yeah.
superiors, because in reality my superiors are mostly aligned with these fucking grunts who are trying to C4 the aliens.
Dude, I loved that they were just listening to like an alt-right web radio host.
Yeah,
It's so
honest to God,
accurate,
that
it's
was
crazy.
wild.
It was fucking great.
2016,
That
man,
also
fuck.
No.
that scene, the C4 scene, is so fucking good.
Yeah.
It's very good. But like no, and I get that, and like him asking like, tell me what I should tell these people.
Yeah.
That's fine. But his just immediate gut reaction to going, this is dumb, these are grade school words. That's the part that annoyed me more than anything.
But he understood
fair.
in the end when she explained it. She's like, that's the
Yeah,
only way
which
we
I'm
can do
glad. No, I appreciate that he understood it, but that first gut reaction
it. I think it
of
sounds
like, okay, fine.
sounds like it's not.
I would get him being angry and talking if it was like 2 months later, and she's still working with like.
Hadn't time
Almost
passed a
like-
good amount though? It'd probably been like a
No, it was literally like
it was
a week-
the
it was like her first
following
day.
day.
What's that like?
It was the following day. It was.
that had been a
Or
minute.
no, it was two. It had been 2 days because day one
She
froze.
passed out.
Sorry, I didn't
Yeah.
realize that you were fucking
Day
like mastered.
2. I don't think she froze. I think day 2. What she just
Day 2, she brings in human.
did she bring in that on the day 2, or
Yeah.
was it? Did she just try and
Yeah.
talk on day 2?
No, day 2.
No,
is
she
the
tried to
human
talk
board.
on day 2 because she just tapped, and then day 3 was when she brought in the whiteboard, and then that's when she did human again. I think.
Okay, I'll take.
I
your
want to
word for
say
it.
yes. I want to say that. I might be wrong.
No, dude, you've got.
I'm
to
pretty sure she brought in the board on day 2, but I'll take your word for it.
Either way,
I don't know.
Either way,
she brings the list in on day 3 or 4.
yeah.
Like that shouldn't, because that's even his big thing. He comes back. They come back after doing the whiteboard thing, and he's like, "I need a vocabulary list by the next time." And she's like,
Yeah.
"Okay, fine." And then
But,
it's
like,
next time.
The thought process behind what she's doing, I thought, was like, it could so easily be boring, but it was so compelling to me.
Yeah,
like,
it was.
Oh, it was very
mean,
compelling. Oh no,
Like,
it
I was
great.
absolutely fucking riveted by this film, and I'm
Oh,
curious. I'm curious what you two like. Did either of you catch any of the hints that led to the reveal at the end of the film? Because there are hints throughout.
I can't
I know,
answer
Trevor,
that.
you were spoiled because you had that in your mind the whole time. But like watching it the second time, like to be honest, I planned to watch it twice because I didn't remember really much of it going into my first watch on Monday night. So I was like, yeah, I'll watch it to refresh myself and then watch it a third time to like be prime for the podcast. But kind of as soon as it started, I was like, holy shit, like I remember all of this now. You know, it came like swimming, it came like rushing back. So did either of you catch the hints that they were littering kind of throughout the film about the end? Essentially the end and like what the alien's purpose was?
I mean,
no, I'm much too dumb. I did not catch it.
Okay. I don't think you're dumb at all. I think
No.
it's just like, why would you be looking out for these things? But I think this is a movie that really rewards like a second viewing because it just lets you bask in like how meticulously it's planned, and there are so many little things sprinkled in. And Trevor, I'll let you. You're about to say something, so I'll let you say what you're going to say before I point out the few things that I wrote down. That I probably missed some too.
I didn't write anything specific down, but thinking about it off the top of my head, definitely the narration at the very beginning. If you know, you know, and it's very.
Are you quoting Notorious B.I.G. there?
Yeah, totally.
If you don't know, now you know
who you are.
But her talking about like
hold you down.
Sorry, go ahead.
Knowing
go
when
ahead.
her daughter's story
Reach
begins.
for the star.
Oh God, here he goes.
Oh, sorry, that was the last one.
Trevor, I heard you were saying something.
Daughter. I heard daughter.
Why am I the one that's interrupted the most?
I don't know. That's
I don't
weird,
understand.
isn't
That was purely a bit, and I apologize.
That was
intentional.
That was a fat bit.
It still happened a couple of times this episode, but still.
Trevor, I
That
apologize.
was all Jacob.
Mostly Jacob.
I've been good this episode.
Her narration at the beginning about not knowing when her daughter's, like, not sure of when her daughter's story starts. If, like, again, like, if you realize that the story is her telling that is in the future, that's kind of obvious. Other than that, not really, because they kind of like fake you out if you do know. Like for me, one of the things that kind of faked me out, it was kind of weird, was when she comes home after the aliens have landed, and she's talking to her mom, and mom's like, and she's like, "Yeah, Mom, no, I'm doing okay," and all that stuff. Right after we've seen this flashback, and it's like, for me, that's one of the things that did sow doubt in my spoiler.
Yeah.
A little bit. I was like, are they just trying to really sell this flashback, air quotes? Or am I just wrong? Am I just wrong about this spoiler, possibly, that she sees the future and time is circular or something along those lines?
I think it's really masterful, and there's this is kind of like part of me doesn't want to mention this, but there's a YouTube video about the film and how it kind of defies general expectation of the viewer. It's a YouTube account called The Nerd Writer, and I think the title of the video is pretty clickbaity, but it's like Arrival: a response to dumb movies or like bad film or something like that, which is like goofy as fuck. But it talks about how they play with our expectations about like it's setting us up to believe that she's distraught and disaffected because she's lived through the death of her child. But it's not. That's not the case. You know, it's like it's an interesting video. But so circling back to
I do want to say that that's why I didn't like the beginning, is because it reminded me of bad movies, where they fair. Just like will try to bring you in and care about these characters by showing you something really awful happen to them straight away. Obviously, that's not the case with this, but
it's like emotionally manipulative.
Yeah.
But then it's not, you know?
Yeah.
But I will say, so like this is kind of speaking to the fact that it rewards second viewings. So in that opening monologue that Trevor referenced, she talks about no longer believing in beginnings and endings, which obviously plays into the circular narrative of the film. She's also walking down a circular hallway in the hospital.
Yeah.
Which
that's a dope visual.
I was like, holy shit.
That was cool. That was
so
a very cool visual.
Right. It's a great visual, just standing
very
alone.
2001 A Space Odyssey.
Right. And it also plays into the theme of the film. But so about an hour in, they start dropping like pretty serious hints. They first mention non-linear orthography, and they're talking about, is this how they think? Like, do the aliens think non-linearly? That's 55 minutes into the film. An hour and 2 minutes into the film, they say learning a language can rewire your brain. They're talking about that principle about like, are you dreaming in their language? And that kind of alludes to, you know, once she learns their language, she now no longer sees time as linear structure. And then at an hour and 23 minutes, the aliens are, I can't remember now that I'm talking about it, if this is when she's in their ship by herself and is talking to them, but the aliens at one point say there is no time, which literally they mean there is no, like, we don't understand the concept of time like you do. Like, time isn't a thing to us. And also many become one, which is like many memories become one because we're no longer thinking of thought linearly. So like, they're dropping these little hints like halfway through the movie, and you don't really find all this stuff out until the last 15 minutes, you know? I just, like, on a second watch, it's like, wow, it's there for you. And I just love a film that rewards that second viewing, you know, and lets you like see how well plotted and well structured it is. Because, you know, first time you're never going to pick those things up as like, this is the key to the plot, you know, but like when you watch it, it's like, here's this little breadcrumb that we left for you. And like, how dope are we? Like, we're very smart. And I'm a sucker for that. So yeah, it was cool as fuck. Plus her daughter's name is Hannah, which is forwards and backwards, which I thought was also great.
That was nice. That was a nice little touch. But yeah, it was cool. Jacob, you seem like you want to say something.
Oh, no, I was just listening. I was trying not to interrupt too much. I interrupt so often normally.
Feels like he's got called out.
No, it's something I think about every time I listen back to the podcast. But did you guys think it was rude that the aliens kept sticking their asshole up against the glass?
That's their hand.
It looked like an asshole though. that they inked out of.
Like a cat butt. Yeah.
It is an ink. It is an ink spewer.
Yeah, it made me think of like when it's like the classic joke where like a person puts titties up against the prison glass, except it's a butthole. So
did they
leave this in the
profound, interesting movie about non-linear thinking and your past and your futures all being one.
Yeah,
buttholes.
I liked
I do want to say
it was 32 minutes before we even
I want to
saw
say something. Yeah,
Go
true.
for it, nerd.
Which I like. I do appreciate that. My big thing I want to say, Ian, Jeremy Renner, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy Renner's character,
Hawkeye.
Ian. Coward.
Whoa.
Coward.
Whoa.
He is a coward.
Oh, because of the ending.
Yes.
Yeah.
She goes through her whole life knowing the sadness that both she and her family is going to feel about her daughter's death and the fact that Ian leaves her. And Ian is a coward because when he finds out about it, he decides he's just going to not interact with his daughter much anymore, treat her different, and just tell his... I don't know if that's what caused them to split up.
It is.
Okay.
That's what's implied, at least.
Coward. That's my thought. You're an asshole. Like,
yeah, I think that's a super valid opinion, and I think that it, like, on one hand, it's like hard not to understand where he's coming from, but like at the same time, like, of course, it's horrible that he just like leaves his wife and daughter.
Yeah.
Because he finds out, like, with no concept of like what Amy Adams has been going through, Louise has been going through, like, she's knowing this from the jump. Like, she knows you're gonna leave. She knows that her daughter's gonna die, but she still went through with it. And then you find out, and you're immediately just like, "I'm out. You're a jerk for doing this."
Like, I get, like, 100% justified if he was like really mad and maybe had to go off and like be like alone for a while.
But to leave
like,
forever.
He left forever, and like it doesn't show him. Well, I mean, obviously it doesn't show him in the flashbacks at the beginning.
But even once we find out, it doesn't show him.
But it's heavily implied that he is not there when his daughter dies. Like,
yeah.
Like
That's pretty fucked up.
Dude, that's like
terrible.
Like, yeah, great on I think Louise is is a very strong person, being able to even just cope with being able to see your whole life in one and know all that pain and still go through with it because of the joys in between. That's what life is.
Right.
Joys with pain and all that fun stuff. But I don't know. Like part of me is just like, man, he really sucks. And she probably could have maybe found somebody else who would have been able to handle that a bit better. But then he's the person that she really loves. And so whatever. But
I think it's a fun, I mean, fun is maybe not the right word, but it's an interesting juxtaposition too, because throughout the first half of the film, he is the brave one. You know, he's the one who's like trying to help her through the process. He's the one who is excited, and like his like wonder when they first drive up to the spaceship. You know, he's just like looking around like a child. You know,
yeah, and he's touching it.
Yeah, he's like running his fingers across the underside of it, and he's brave, and he's like, "You're gonna be okay." You know, when she starts freaking out, and then at the end of all of this, she's the one who sticks with it, and he doesn't. I think it's just it's a cool character choice.
I'll say it's mildly hinted and talked about, I guess, very, very mildly. This is just me going like he's very brave in his words and inconsequential actions, I guess.
Yeah, that's fair.
But the moment the real shit happens, like Amy Adams, she just takes her suit off. She's just like, oh, I gotta do this, and it takes him a while before he's just like, all right, yeah, okay, I guess I'll do it too, or whatever. But
yeah,
like any really big, serious bravery comes from Louise, and then Ian's kind of a bit more of a not all talk, no action, mostly talk, little action.
Yeah,
little
fair.
action.
And I think it's worth circling back to the fact that they don't introduce the aliens until like 30 minutes in. Like Cobb mentioned, I think the way they introduce them by sound and not by visual is cool.
They sound
and like there's
whales.
such a huge level of anticipation. You know, when you're like first getting into the spaceship and going up, it's like, I just think it's, you know, it's so methodical and like quiet. It's fun.
The gravity hallway is so cool.
The gravity hallway is
cool.
dope as hell. Yeah, one of my notes is just glow stick. It's all, you know. It's
what
like,
a
holy
cool way
shit.
to show that.
Yeah,
I
agree. Stray notes that I have, since it feels like we're kind of winding down. I love that they chose Abbott and Costello as names for the two. I love how devastating it was that the one of them died in that C4 scene. You know, you find out once she goes back to the spaceship, Abbott, that she's like, "Where's Abbott?" And he's like, you know, he does his little alien language and says dead.
What does he get out? Abbott is death process or
something.
Yeah, Abbott is death process. Yeah, I just thought of Death Stranding. That's like, I was like, oh, this is.
Yeah. So did
like
was the C4 like strong enough to like blow through the glass or something? Like what happened?
I think it must have.
I guess it must have been. Yeah.
You'd think you'd think their alien glass would be stronger than anything on Earth. I mean, the ship floated there without disturbing air, without doing anything to human recognized physics. Like,
yeah, to be fair, they also maybe it was because that they like made the conscious decision to get Ian and Louise out of that room, you know, like push them away and seal off the chamber, that the explosion then came their way. You know, who knows? Like,
he just got scared and had a heart attack.
Just passed out.
Yeah, he's like, oh, fuck.
So my thought is, like Costello is the one that spewed all the ink and then left. He kind of like went out of frame, and then Costello is the one that like got the
Save the day.
part 1 of 12 of their like how their language works out there, and then push them out and save them. And then I guess any sort of transparent material is going to innately be weaker than like the surrounding stuff, so it would funnel a force like that. And that was a good chunk of C4. That was a pretty good sized chunk.
Solid brick. Fuck those guys.
Honest to God, those guys can just, I hate them. And also, they definitely knew, right? Costello and Abbott definitely knew, because they were like tapping on the glass.
Yeah,
they
were
knew.
knocking, which
Pointing like,
they had never
hey,
done before.
Hey, get that out of, that's dangerous. Like,
that sequence is just so good. My other stray notes, I love the kangaroo story that she tells.
Yeah, that was good.
That was
especially
great.
how it's fake. Like, she's like, made
she's
it up.
like, that's not real. Yeah, it's like, oh, you're smart. And then, go ahead, Trev, sorry.
I think there is some story like that is real, though.
Yeah.
Like,
that makes sense. So she based it on something?
Or are you pranking us right now?
I could be. Like, the back of my mind is like, there's a real language story I've heard where they pointed at stuff and were like, this, and they said the thing, and they found out later that it means either hello or what are you talking about, or something along those lines. It was just like either generic greeting or we don't know what you're saying. That was the thing. But maybe I'm honestly thinking of the kangaroo story and somebody else told it to me.
You're thinking of the movie Kangaroo Jack, brother.
Ah, yes.
Shout
Kangaroo
out
with the hoodie.
Anthony Anderson.
Hell yeah.
All right.
So just as we wrap up, were y'all not like floored by the ending like I was?
I mean, I don't think innately I was as floored, just because, again,
You knew.
I was somewhat knew what was going to happen. Still loved it. Still loved the interaction with the Chinese general.
Yeah.
And her coming to grasp with her new... I feel like in that moment she's also realizing, wow, I'm going to have to function in human society with a highly different thought process.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really cool, though. I do like that. That was the part, though, that knocked my rating down a little bit as well, though. I would like them to explore that concept a little bit more. Her living with a nonlinear thought process.
I think that would have been too much. I don't think we need to see that.
I like that idea. That's the kind of stuff that I like to be expanded on. Wild, crazy concepts. Like, how would someone function?
That's something that I feel like they would, if it was like a book series, it would be a thing. So like in a movie, like I don't think you need, in my opinion at least.
Trevor's pointing to his anime that he referenced earlier.
That's not anime. That's a
He's
regular
pointing
novel.
to his hentai
That's a regular
novellas.
novel.
His hentai novellas that he reads in the toilet.
Pip's rolling around like, get your fucking anime out of here.
There's only
Cobb, thoughts? You didn't cry?
No, I mean, like, I was definitely moved at certain parts of it, like, revolving around, at the end of the movie, like, more stuff with the daughter and everything that they were going through. I thought the ending was really gripping. Her, like, going through this process and, like, having these, like, moments that's, like, in present but also in past, and, like, figuring things out as it's happening. It was really an interesting idea. Like, she's literally hearing... Yeah, in the cell phone scene where she's hearing what the guy's telling her and just saying it back to him was awesome. I still think it's crazy, like, that it's... I just really want to know more about that little conversation, though, because, like, how could that still be enough for the entirety of the Chinese military to change their minds, and then Russia and Sudan to follow suit? I just feel. Well, I mean,
he's the leader of the military, isn't he? So like,
yeah, I know,
his
but
word
like,
is bond.
Wouldn't he just be like, "This is a prank caller"? Boom.
Like, yeah, but I mean, who else? I mean, how could anybody know?
I just feel like he would have never
his
taken
wife's
that call.
dying words.
Yeah.
Maybe
you'd never.
I
don't pick up numbers. I don't know.
That's very pragmatic.
I mean, if you're like the head person of an entire of a major,
but it was his
superpower's
personal
military
phone.
Private phone, no one's gonna have that number.
If
no
it's
one's
what do
gonna
you
have
mean?
that number.
If it's your personal phone, scammers have that number. They call you all day, every day.
I don't think a military
That's
leader,
a secure sat phone.
It's not.
dude.
They said
In
it was
China?
his personal phone, not his sat
No.
phone. They said it was his personal number.
This is also think about it, this
He
is also
pulled
in
out his
China.
Nokia 4500 and said, "Hey, here's
No, but-
my number. It's 555-555-555-555-555."
Classic fives in this film.
But this
dude.
remember,
Great
like
ref.
we're saying, this is in China, which is a highly regulated.
Scammers are
Regime.
everywhere. Never forget, people. Keep your eyes open.
I mean, yes,
Keep your
but
ears
I don't.
third eye open.
I'm
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
sure
Fuck
he's
yeah,
not getting
Will.
scam
Hell
calls
yeah, dude.
on that private phone.
You don't know what the fuck he's getting, dude. Can
I'm
I get an
pretty
amen,
sure.
brother, to that?
I
No.
think no, because I'm on Trevor's side on this one. I think I forgot how good it felt to be held by you is like one of the all time
That's a good
most
line.
devastating lines in film that I've seen. And this is one of those movies that like I finish and I'm just like I don't know what to do with myself, you know? Like I was just like so distraught. You know, it's a film that I finish and I like take my glasses off and like wipe my eyes and I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like this is just too much.
See, I need to find something that'll make me cry like that because I haven't cried at a movie
Jesus.
other than like because I said I teared up at one of
You
the
cried
other...
at Gurren Lagann, you said.
Yeah, I know. But like I haven't cried at anything that's like legitimately sad in a long time. Like I cry at stuff that's like big, epic moment with sad attached.
I mean, I don't think it's fair to you to stack up your emotional response to my emotional response because I am just inherently an emotional person. I mean, like I cried at Boromir dying in the Fellowship of the Rings when I was 13 and I saw it in theaters. Like I was like weeping in the movie theater, you know? So like that's
Wow.
where I'm coming from. Like I cried.
I don't come from that
movies-
at all then. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
you know, like so it's like a very different like it's just I'm predisposed to be fully invested in film or TV and to be a sucker for, you know, being manipulated by the music, by the plot, by what's happening in the film. Like that kind of shit gets me. And so like I mentioned before we jumped into spoilers, like I think that string theme, the violin or viola, the theme that plays in the first chunk of the film, it's the first flashback when you assume it's the past, and then it comes back at the end of the film once you realize that it's now her future. It's just like is absolutely fucking devastating and destroys me. And I think that kind of thing is like I'm wholly susceptible to that. And
I mean,
that,
and I'm pseudo susceptible to it in a similar way.
Yeah.
With
it's just not quite the same level.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not susceptible. I guess I don't cry at the same things, which is fair.
Yeah,
You know, everyone
Trevor,
cries
you
at
never
the
because I
same
definitely
things.
didn't cry in Gurren Lagann.
I don't
So-
cry. I don't really. I can't remember the last time I fully cried at something. Like I'll choke up and like tear up, but like
Yeah.
a sob.
I was like
No
ugly
idea.
crying. I was ugly
Yeah.
crying at the end of this movie.
Damn.
I can't think of the last time I ugly cried at anything.
What?
Yeah, it hit me for sure.
Dude,
Like whether it be movie or real life, I can't think of the last time.
not
I did.
even in real life either. Damn, dude.
Gotta get a good cry out, Trev.
I know, and I
Um,
actually have been thinking about that. There's like a couple of things that I've put off because I know that they're very sad, like
Yeah.
pieces of media that I've put off because I'm like
You can't even
I
think
don't
of
know.
things in your real life that you've ugly cried
the
about.
last. I can think of things that I have in the past, but like the most recent, I can't think of what the most recent would be. Like my uncle when he died when I was like a little kid. Yeah,
Yeah.
I got super sad about that, and I definitely
Fair.
ugly cried for that. But like I can't think of the last thing that I ugly cried over. Maybe my dog. Yeah,
R.I.P.
Dibs. I was at your house, Jacob, when I
R.I.P.
found out about that.
I remember that. Yeah, we were gonna record the Drake and Josh podcast, and
I left.
That did not happen.
No, I
No.
got a call from my parents. I got in the car and I drove home.
Well, first
That
you were
was
wrapped
rough.
up in a blanket for a little bit on my couch.
I was a little intoxicated too, so I was like trying to sober up and cry and go home.
Well, I think on this note,
Great movie,
Wait,
Will.
I can't give any final thoughts.
Shout out
I
to
was
Frank.
gone for the last 5
Oh,
minutes
please.
of that conversation.
Yeah, go.
That's your fault.
I still really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was a really awesome sci-fi movie. I didn't love it as much as you guys, I guess, but I still thought it was phenomenal. I still thought it was a great movie. One that I would definitely watch again. And yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I feel bad that I didn't have more to say about it. But I feel like I might if I watched it again. You know. But yeah, I mean, it was really sick. It was a tight movie.
Yeah, that's totally fair, and I don't think you should feel bad about it.
No, don't feel bad.
Shout out to Denis Villeneuve. Watch Sicario, watch Arrival, watch Blade Runner 2049, and watch Doom when it comes out.
Blade Runner has fucking amazing cinematography. You should give it a watch.
Blade Runner, yeah.
I need to see the sequel. I've seen the original. I have not seen the sequel still.
2049's cinematography is insane.
I wanted to bring it so badly to this podcast, but Cobb has.
Of course,
I've
seen it. Come on,
I couldn't.
Who are you talking
to? That movie fucking slaps. It's like that's one of the best examples of seeing a movie in movie theaters that I can think of. Shout out Ryan Gosling. Shout out Harrison Ford. Shout out Denis Villeneuve. I think that's Roger Deakins too, the cinematographer.
I actually didn't. I watched it on HBO, but the cinematography was still fantastic. It's beautiful.
That's a mind blower.
I got to make sure I watch that on a good setup because my home this setup that I'm using right now is not what I watched this movie on. Hence, I watched on a very poor setup that was out of my control somewhat.
Sometimes it happens.
4K setup.
Yeah, definitely do a better setup.
Trevor, you watched it on your Nintendo Switch, didn't you?
Yep, that's where I watched Arrival. I watched Arrival on my Switch. It does not handle blacks well, apparently.
Shout out to the both of you. Shout out to Denis Villeneuve and Amy Adams. Thank you for making this movie. It's beautiful. Watch it. Watch it again. Watch it a third time.
Thanks for listening.
Next time, stay safe. Stay healthy.
Peace.
Bye, everyone.